everybody, and welcome to the LIPP Men on UFL. LIPP Men on Sports is also one of the shows on the Fuel Network. It is on the Sportcat shows on YouTube. Please tune into that. Go to the Sportcat shows. Like, follow, subscribe, and follow on YouTube. We are live on all kinds of streams. We're on Linked, Twitched, Kick, Twitch, I don't know, Facebook, some other things. But aside from all that, we have somebody here that is more important than me. We have one of the Mr. LIPP Men's.
What's up, everyone? Thank you to Fuel for having us join your powerhouse network. We're going to try to kick it up with some UFL octane. Thank you, Glenn, for not just being the producer today, but being the co-host.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Kick it up with octane. Let's hear it. Come on, it's football.
Yeah, I got to watch some this weekend. I didn't get to watch a lot, but I got to watch some. It was Mother's Day weekend, so.
All right.
Also, I want to remind everybody, and let me post this up here before I forget about it. We also are live on the Yergs Radio Network, and you can call in if you have a question for one of us. 1-888-88-YERGZ, 1-888-88-YERGZ. The phone lines are open, and we welcome your call. And also, I got a surprise celebrity guest appearance here I'm going to bring in. Hey, Miss Cheyenne. She loves us too. So
that's a real celebrity. True. Hello, Cheyenne. How are you?
A pretty face.
It certainly wasn't me.
Yeah, there's not going to be a contest here with this particular population of the show.
Well, I win anyway, so.
All right. So, folks, thank you for tuning into the LIPP Men, and this show is full of fumbles. So, I am sorry to Fuel Network and to everyone who's tuning in for the missed fumbles. One, we're down a LIPP Man. He couldn't make it. Two, I inferred last week that we were going to have a guest, and I fumbled that. We don't have a guest, but we are on the Fuel Network. So we thought we were last week, and we weren't, but we got that all resolved. So, we picked up one fumble, and that's probably the most important one. So for the new millions upon millions of LIPP Men on the UFL fans, welcome. And the theme of this week's show is, did anyone want to win this week? Did they? Did anyone want to win? There was a lot of playing.
No.
Well, I'm going to say that there were two teams that definitely played like they wanted to win. One was Arlington, which I picked, by the way. The other was Michigan, which I apologize to you, Michigan. I will never doubt you again. I know that your coaching staff probably won't get voted in because one team's probably going to go undefeated. But my goodness, the job they're doing. My goodness, the job that your players are doing. You're down to your third and sometimes fourth quarterback. You lost one of your great defensive players this week. And your offensive line is much maligned. It just seems to get better every week. Your running game looks strong, not even from the expected place. I don't know what to say. But yeah, as far as other teams, we had the game of the season, the preview of the championship game, maybe St. Louis in Birmingham. Both teams did their damnedest to let the other team win. Though this was a good game. San Antonio, what the heck were you doing? You had 3 turnovers in the game, 2 in the red zone. You managed to pull it out, which is why I'm wearing your shirt, because I did pick you, thankfully, in miracles. DC, I picked you. I'm not going to make that mistake again. DC, your shields might have been up, but they were made of wicker. I don't know what that was about, but DC, my goodness, that was an embarrassing show.
Bomb has been planted.
That's right. The bomb has been planted. We're done with DC. So.
That's right. Done with DC. I am so done. I am so glad that my decision was not to purchase DC merchandise, and I'm standing by it. I am not purchasing DC merchandise. If they won, I was going to buy a DC shirt, maybe even like a hoodie or something more expensive than a t-shirt. So, yeah.
Remember your producer when you do. So
that's right. Exactly right. That's a big shot over here. So we're going to start where we normally do with week 6 ratings. But first, we want to give a shout out to Charles Richardson, who was our guest last week. And I was on their show, the Touchdown Crew, and I did a watch along party. Not going to reveal too much. though he's pretty open with his group and his Facebook friends and all that. But he had a little setback, but he overcame that setback, and he was back on the air this weekend. So shout out to Charles. Well, I can't read that, but I know that. What's the young man saying?
That is your son. He's saying, big week coming. Sorry I can't make it. He will send his predictions for next week. Drop them in the chat.
Okay.
Shay'll give them to us.
Okay, excellent. Now, I don't remember his predictions for last week, but I think we split on a bunch of things. So he either went 2-2 or 1-3. I mean, just since we're on the air and I'm his father, I'll say I hope he went 2-2. But I actually want to win this thing going. This contest of this battle of wits. Anyway, so we're going to start where we normally do, which is with the Week 6 ratings. Pretty good news. The St. Louis at DC game drew 1.220 million viewers. So that's pretty good on Fox. Nice. Michigan and Arizona, a very solid Arlington, very solid 929,000 also on Fox. We had the Birmingham versus at Memphis, and they had on ABC 956,000, and Houston at St. Louis 829,000 also on Fox. So 3 games on Fox, pretty good ratings there, pretty strong. Everyone seems to be pretty happy with that number. Oh, look at Jake there, 2-2. He's cold but not bad. No, it's 2-2 is breaking even. I went 3-1 only by the skin of my teeth, to be frank. But that still puts me at 11-1 for the last 3 weeks, which is pretty good for those of you who are gambling. There's other news. As you know, the UFL has been talking about expansion for a while, and it seems like it's all but confirmed. And the thing that sort of makes it cemented is during the course of just today is Monday for those of you listening on the audio or listen when not when it's live on the stream, on YouTube or on any of the places, on Sportscat, on Yergs. Well, I guess you have to listen on Yergs or on Fuel. Today is May 13th, Monday. So throughout the day, they were talking about rumors that they were considering airing Friday night games, and it was Fox is considering airing Friday night games, and then it was Fox is considering airing Friday night games if there's expansion, and then by the end of the day, Fox is going to air Friday night games for the UFL next season. So 2 little bitties of information there is, if it is still contingent on expansion, it means there is expansion. It also means that there's pretty good sign that there's going to be a season 2. And we're going to get Friday night games on Fox, which is cool. That's going to be a nice time slot. Yes, this is NBA playoff season. Yes, it's NHL season. Yes, it's MLB. But that's the season. That's the season we're in. And listen, football's number 1. I know the NFL is number 1, not the UFL, not yet anyway, and it probably never will be number 2. It probably will never be number 1. But could it overtake college football? I don't know. Maybe some of the divisions.
Whoa! Calm down. Not in the South.
Yeah. Like I said, some of the divisions maybe. Of course, with the power conferences, it'll be very different. Anyway, can it be a nice, solid number 3? I'll tell you who won't be: the Arena League. So about 5 of the teams have contracted altogether. Another team came out and refused to play. So the Arena League, which we don't really cover too much, but in just some stark contrast, this is a league that looks like it's imploding, and there's about to be a revolution. So, you Arena League fans, you have an alternative. Come on over. The water's warm.
Nashville was loving the Nashville Cats. They were all in.
Glenn wants you. Shay wants you. Yeah. Jake wants you. I want you. The UFL wants you. We all want you. Fuel wants you. Sportscat wants you. Yergs wants you. So all of that. There's also confirmation the UFL is going to have a college draft, and it's going to be in the summer. Not sure if it's July or August, but it's going to be after the NFL draft, obviously. I'm not sure how it works with the players. I guess they declare for the draft, and that sort of means that they've abandoned their NFL dreams of walking onto a team or, being more than a 7, they're outside the 7th round pick. I'm not really sure how that works. We'll get more rules on that as it comes up, but there's going to be a draft. So, ESPN or someone will probably turn that into a TV event. So we'll look forward to that. And Houston head coach CJ Johnson said during this week that Houston is reevaluating everything. Well, good idea, Coach. UFL, you may want to reevaluate Coach CJ Johnson because he might be a place to start. Nothing personal against him. Isn't he married to Serena Williams?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Anyway, I saw a picture with him and her, power couple. I don't know if they're married or just friends.
I'll find out.
I don't know anything about pop culture. If it's past 2000, I don't know anything. I believed in Y2K, and I just tuned out at that point.
If you want pop culture, you need to watch your Saturday night show, The Misfits.
Yes.
No, so Serena Williams is married to Alexis Ohanian.
So Alexis Carrington. Good. I like that. Okay.
Not
good.
a CJ.
Not a CJ, not a Johnson. All right. Well, all right. Enough about that then. Some transactions. Panthers linebacker Frank Gilda out for the season. Memphis edge Jeff McCullough on the injured reserve. Running back for Arlington, D.D. Hunter on the IR. A.J. McCarron after the game, day to day. Memphis signed a linebacker named Terrell Hanks. San Antonio signed running back Puka Williams, who was released by another team earlier in the season. Thought we were going to see Puka get a lot of action this week, but no, we did not. Michigan said that their starter was going to be Brian Lewerke, who had just recently been signed. And Houston announced that Jarek Guarantano was going to be their starting quarterback for the week. And in fact, he was. And in fact, Brian Lewerke was the quarterback. But as you'll find out, that lots of quarterbacks started. Not all of them finished, some for very different reasons. So our first game of the week was Memphis at Arlington. This was a battle of really bad teams. Arlington winless up until this week. Memphis only one win. They won in week 1. People keep trying to convince themselves that Memphis is adequate. They are the team, as new people will be hearing for the first time, but loyal viewers will know that I've said they are just not bad enough to give their fans hope, and I think that's cruel. Well, not this week. They got slaughtered. Arlington wanted to show that they were better than their 0-6 record, and in fact they did. So Memphis started Troy Williams at quarterback. Nobody was really sure if Case Cookus was injured. Turns out he wasn't. He was able to play. He was just benched. So in the opening drive, there was great, a really good kickoff return. You had Arlington establishing the running game, which isn't something we've seen from them consistently. Luis Perez was mixing in the pass game. There was a touchdown catch to Sal Cannella. There was even a two-point conversion, but it got overruled. That was to Vaughn's, but it was overruled. So you're looking like, okay, Arlington looks good, but they can't catch a break. But missed extra point attempts in this league is more the rule than the exception. So it's 6-0. Memphis does nothing much with the ball, but they do get a 59-yard field goal. Long field goals seem to be pretty commonplace in this league. The place kickers, frankly, are some of the heroes of this league all season long. It goes to 3-6. And then Peyton catches a terrific touchdown catch and a rare 2-point conversion caught by Cannella, and it's 14-3 Arlington. And then there's an interception by Troy Williams, and Arlington runs it back to the 24-yard line. You get a TD rush from Smith, and then there's an interesting little conversion play where it looks like it's a toss back to Smith, but Smith, the running back, then is the quarterback, and he throws it to Vandermash for a 2-point conversion. So all of a sudden, it's 22-3, and frankly, at this point, the game was over anyway. We did have a touchdown catch by Dawood Davis, one of the highlights for Memphis. The extra point was missed. Well, we get a field goal by Arlington at the end of the half, and third quarter, solid defense by both players. The one thing Memphis does is okay is their defense is pretty good. They sort of fell apart at the end of the game, but honestly, I don't blame them. Early in the third quarter, we get this big rush towards the end of the fourth quarter by Devontae Smith. It's a 46-yard run. Long runs are pretty rare in the UFL. Maybe there's one for every 3 out of 4 games. And then Davion had a rush TD, which has also been rare for Arlington. TD catch for Tavon Payton. And there's a 2-point conversion by Seth Green. I mentioned Seth Green because the only Seth Green I know was Austin Powers, Dr. Evil's son, and Austin Powers, and sort of that teen actor who still somehow is hanging around. But different guy, I'm told. So at this point, it's 9-30 or 39-9. Troy Williams does have a rush TD, but that was really his only highlight of the game. And it looks like he got hurt. There was a 2-point conversion to Horse, 17-39 for Memphis. By the way, the attendance at this game, there weren't this many people there, but it's announced at 8,042. Troy Williams was announced as being sent to the X-ray. That's obviously not a good thing for them. At the same time, we find out that the Devion Smith is over 100 yards rushing. Canela gets another touchdown pass. It's the second touchdown of the game. The extra point is mixed, and it's now 47-17. Actually, no, the extra point was achieved by Burnett. I'm sorry. I can't read my own writing, folks. I'm not wearing my glasses. I really should. Then Memphis fumbles, and Arlington recovers the fumble. But the play is ruled overturned due to an illegal forward pass. It didn't matter. Memphis just gave up. There was one more touchdown to Jake's favorite player, Vince Papelli, the son of the guy from Invincible. Missed extra point. They go for the 4th and 12. It's 47-23 at this point. They go for the 4th and 12, but they get sacked on the 4th and 12. I don't even know who the quarterback was at this point. It wasn't Williams. I don't care. It doesn't matter. So 47-23, and it wasn't even that close. Now you have 2 teams at 1-6. Arlington off the schneid and proving that they are only the 8th worst team in the league, not the worst team in the league. So how do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about Arlington getting off the schneid and Memphis, sort of your neighboring team, sort of
close
team you guys share?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Memphis.
All right. You were talking a lot about Fred Smith and pre-production. You want to raise that specter now while we're on the air?
I keep hearing the rumors. He's throwing a lot of money into the stadium there, and he's trying really hard to entice the NFL. But market is the 50th. I don't know if it's number 50 or the 50th smallest. It's a small market. So
are we talking about Memphis or are we talking about Nashville?
Memphis. Yeah, he's Fred Smith's throwing a lot of money into a stadium in Memphis. He's wanting something there. It's obviously not going to be arena. So, but
I don't know about all that.
Is primed for a team, really. I mean, they love the Titans, so I know they're not going to Knoxville. So,
well, maybe Fred Smith should pay his employees time and a half to go to the games, or maybe get them all tickets and get them all a $50 Amazon gift card. As long as FedEx ships it and not Amazon, I guess I'd be competing with yourself. And if you show your scanned ticket, then you get the gift card. I don't know, but maybe you should focus more on this team and hope to build that market. Listen, we talked about last week. They should be doing Graceland nights. They should be doing Elvis nights. They should be doing Johnny Cash nights. They should be doing Memphis barbecue nights. Whatever it is.
I'd come to Memphis barbecue night.
There you go. See Memphis. Listen, I got you one person already, and she's not in Tennessee. I'm not going to tell you where she is because it's not my business to say.
I'll come from West Virginia to Tennessee.
All right.
For the barbecue.
Well, all right. Well, there you go. You hear that? You're going to get someone from West Virginia to come down to Tennessee. And I know Glenn's definitely going to go.
I could probably gather a bunch of people to come if it's going to be good food.
There you go. Well, there you go. The Memphis rub is going to entice some people. By the way, for all of you who celebrated Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there in the world. All of you deserve all the flowers that you got and the lovely brunches and the nice dinners on a Sunday night and whatever else that you got from those special people in your lives.
It was a
Next
great
game.
Mother's Day for me.
Excellent. That's terrific. What'd you do?
I spent my whole afternoon talking about boobs with fellow women, so it was great.
Oh, sounds like something that I might do with, not the fellow women part, but, Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good time. And that's something that most of us also love, which is boobs. All right. Terrific.
I'll send you the link when it comes out.
It's, what? Thank you. Sounds great. All right. Game of the season. Possible preview. St. Louis at Birmingham. At Birmingham, they sold out one half of the stadium into the end zones, 14,056 people there. But I got to tell you, a lot of people from Missouri made that trip. There was a lot of blue in that red stadium, a lot of blue shirts. So St. Louis fans, is the law, at least as far as when it comes to thou shalt support your team and thou shalt travel for your team. So good on you for doing that. This was a homecoming for A.J. McCarron, the Alabama superstar, state legend, married to former Miss Alabama, cheerleader for University of Alabama, legend just for marrying that woman. But it's his homecoming, but homecoming as the enemy. Could he do it? Well, the game opens up with looking like an okay drive, but a big interception thrown by McCarron, return to the 32-yard line. Coach throws a super challenge on Birmingham, saying that there was some type of defensive pass interference that was not called. Strange choice, strange choice by Coach Holtz, who makes very few mistakes. Well, I would say with the few games when he started Corral was a mistake, but still winless. So but this was interesting. It was everyone was sort of scratching their head about it because it was very close, and they're supposed to be pretty conservative about that. They're supposed to look at it to see if it's clear in both slow motion, but it should have been clear in real time as well. Frankly, this didn't really look like pass interference in slow motion, let alone real time. Too close. But anyway, super challenge. Birmingham loses the ability for any future challenges, loses a timeout. But they do get the ball to the 1-yard line, and you get a rush touchdown from our man C.J. Maribel. Extra point, no good. Then we see St. Louis getting the ball, and they're sort of dinking and dunking. They're taking what the defense is giving them. I call it New York Giants football, but when I say New York Giants football, I mean like from 1984 to like 1991. So it's not like Eli Manning, like New York Giants football. So it probably makes absolutely no sense to anybody who's hearing this right now. But they have a decent drive. They get a field goal. At this point, it's 6-3. Birmingham, St. Louis. There's a defensive pass interference, a St. Louis challenge on it, and they lose that challenge as well. So you have dueling coaches' challenges. They both lose it, and then you get a first down for Birmingham. They have a 9-minute possession. They turn that 9-minute possession into a field goal. So use a lot of time, but again, getting field goals instead of touchdowns, another sort of story of the league that touchdowns sometimes aren't in large supply, though Arlington sort of defied that last game around. So anyway, we get back to St. Louis. Hakeem Butler, who did have the dropsies a couple times. The stat line will still show that he had a terrific game, and in fact he did. But a lot of the plays he was getting he was sort of doing like button hook or L left, L right, sort of short passes, being like a possession receiver. Though there was one time where the defense definitely bid on that, and he did like an L fly and had the ball all to himself and took it to the house. He had a 47-yard reception. So on the stat line, he's going to have another huge game. But he had the dropsies, but he's not the only one. Sailors had the dropsies. But I can tell you, Birmingham, they also did things to defeat themselves as well, or to try to defeat themselves. Anyway, on the heels of Butler's 44-yard reception, which was that Ellen fly, which basically you remember from olden television, basically looks like you're going to do a button hook flare, but the defender, you run out flat instead of looking like you're going to stay short. You go out deep, and he did and got 44 yards. Then Sailors has a touchdown rush, and then Sailors with another rush for the 2-point conversion. So at this point, it's you've got 11 points for St. Louis, but you have a touchdown catch by Dean Kane, and I think it's Marcus Williams for a 2-point conversion. So now we've got it. So Birmingham's ahead. It's looking pretty good for them. Before the half, we have 4 drop passes by St. Louis. Sailors dropped a pass. Hakeem Butler dropped at least 2 passes. I think Ja'Cour Peterson dropped a pass. There was a really bad defensive penalty, and they were left with a field goal. I'm sorry, it wasn't 11-19. It was 17-11. And then after the long field goal for St. Louis, it's 17-14 Birmingham. So that brings us to the second half. Pretty good defensive struggle, some offense. Despite all of my nitpicking, it was actually an exciting game. And this game was very much in doubt and very competitive the entire time. Enjoyable game to watch. My notes on it are not that good, which is a blessing because I'm not going to rely on them, but it's because I was with the touchdown crew doing the watch-along party. And since we're talking, I'm not, my nose isn't down. I'm not taking notes and all that, but I know who did what. So in the second half, we have a Birmingham drive for a missed field goal, rare missed field goal. And then there was a huge punt kickoff mistake, which results in a turnover, and St. Louis gets the ball on the 11-yard line. So basically a muffed kick, a blocked kick, and St. Louis gets the ball. And to make matters worse, I don't think anyone in Birmingham tackled the guy. He stood there and then tackled him. Now, the refs actually called him down by contact. I'm not exactly sure that's the case. And the commentary booth said, we're not exactly sure that's the case, but since no coach challenged it, we're going to defer to the refs. Although they have the authority to overrule it, I think they were sort of punishing the coaches for wasting their challenges earlier in the game. Anyway, St. Louis, instead of getting the ball on the 1-yard line, gets the ball on the 11-yard line. Didn't matter. Sailors has a touchdown catch, mixed extra point. It's 2017 St. Louis at that point. Marlon Williams then turns right around. Yeah, it's Marlon, not Marcus. Gets a touchdown catch from Birmingham. Adrian Martinez, by the way, had a pretty serviceable game, great with the legs. He opens up a lot of things, but, he was the leading rusher for a long time for Birmingham in this game. He might have ended up as the leading rusher. Missed extra point, but at this point, it's 23-20 for the Stallions. We get McCarron getting the ball back. So he's getting a lot of pressure. He doesn't want to get sacked. He's facing the wrong direction. He could have thrown it out of bounds to the short field, but he's completely off balance in the wrong direction, and he throws the ball to nobody. He doesn't have enough arm to get it out of bounds. He's on his back feet, and there's no receiver nearby. It's intentional grounding. So you lose it down with that, and that was just bad. Then there was a really bad kickoff or punt rather by St. Louis, and Birmingham gets the ball back at the 50. So just when you think the Birmingham is trying to beat themselves, and it's at this point it's 26-23 St. Louis at home, they get the ball back at their own 50, and Kevin Austin Jr. gets a 40-yard beautiful catch, and he just flies. Nobody was anywhere near him. The tight end Sternberger, he starts to wake up in the second half. He catches just a 1-point conversion. So it's 30-26 Birmingham at this point. And then there's a blocked punt by St. Louis. So St. Louis is back in the game. Does Birmingham want to win this game at home, or is call the law? It's on the 46-yard line. They have great field position. Second special teams mistake by Birmingham, but nothing doing. Birmingham stops them, holds court. Game is over, ends with a final 30-26. I would say Birmingham walked out. Neither team really acquitted themselves that well with a bunch of mistakes. Special teams for Birmingham, I'd watch out for that, but they remain undefeated. They are 7-0. St. Louis falls to 5-2, which, there's 2 other 5-2 teams in the league and another 5-2 team in that division, though we haven't gotten there yet. But maybe this shirt is sort of a clue. All right. So continuing with the does anyone want to win rant for this weekend? Uncommon Soul. Yeah, all right, Uncommon Soul. It's good. I like their music in the 90s, Uncommon Soul. Is that right? Is that different? All right. Michigan and Washington, D.C. Allegedly 12,272 people. I'm here to tell you there was close to 2,272 people. I know these are tickets sold. That's all that matters for the purse. But it's not all that matters for parking and for vendors and for merchandise sale and for TV optics. Doesn't look good on TV if there's nobody's in these crowds. Guess it doesn't matter so much because we're getting a season 2. Hell yeah! Drinking some Broken Skull Ranch beer right now. I guess give me a hell yeah and drive a muscle car. Stone Cold Steve Austin now has a cat. He's become a cat person.
Good for him.
That's right. Sportscat. What are you saying? What? You're a sports cat.
Well, I don't know. Tyson has his doves or pigeons, whatever they are, and he has cats.
Tyson had a cat too.
He had a tiger.
I thought that was just in the movies.
No, I think he really had a tiger.
I'm pretty sure he actually had a tiger.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. So I won't say it. He'll beat me up. So
no, well, he's going to beat up Jake Paul first. Yeah. Well, that's it. But he's going to beat up Jake Paul live on Netflix coming up soon.
That's not going to be a fight. That's not even going to be.
What do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be
Glenn
like
cowering in the corner.
No, it's going to be. What was that guy? The moneymaker? What was his name? He was the one that had all the money, and he got to a big fight, and all he did was run around the ring and trying to avoid getting knocked out.
Floyd Mayweather?
Yes, Floyd Mayweather. Yes.
Many consider him the best boxer of all time because of that.
I don't know, though. It didn't look good on TV. The optics. I didn't like it.
It's not my style of boxing either. I prefer someone to be able to do both, but also, knock someone out. But I feel you. Anyway, all right. Back to the UFL. Michigan at DC. Michigan, I'm not going to doubt you again. So, all right. Here is the built-in excuse. DC plays on a soccer field, and they are the only team in the UFL that uses real grass. And it was a wet field. It didn't rain for a long time in DC, but there was a deluge. So the grass was wet. That said, that applies to both teams. And, well, all right, we'll get into it. So quarterback starting is Brian Lewerke. As we noted, this is his first start. They had E.J. Perry, who went down on the IR, may come back then. We had Danny Etling, who was suited up and able to play. Apparently he's not injured. He was just sort of benched. Opening kick, it's looking bad for Michigan. They're starting on their own 6-yard line. 2 Matthew Colburn runs to start for about 30 yards. Actually, I know it was 29 yards. I didn't think I was going to remember that. I just wrote 30 yards, but yay me. And then there's a 53-yard rush from Matthew Colburn, who, if you want to know, he finished the game with 130 yards behind this offensive line that nobody is giving credit to. There was a Lewerke rush touchdown, so the quarterback, new touchdown, showing he's a little bit unflappable tough. He's a big guy, by the way. Like he's a big, strong quarterback. He's tall, but he's also bulkier than most of the quarterbacks that we see. Not quite Donovan McNabb biggish, but in that vein. Not like the most of the quarterbacks in this league are sort of slender. Even like Reed Sinnett and Matt Corral, who are your prototypical 6'4", 220 guys. He just looks bigger. Anyway. There is a 1-point conversion from Nako, who had a big day. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Catch. So it's 7-0. DC, they get a 33-yard return on the kickoff. Everything looks great. They go to Kiki QT for a reverse. Very clever. It's like a 23-yard run. And then they hit the blocks. Nothing's going on. Missed field goal. So they missed a field goal. That's when they started using the wet field as an excuse. We then have another quarterback coming from Michigan. Not really sure why. Lewerke didn't seem like he was hurt. In fact, he wasn't. They just decided to go with a two-headed monster. So it was Bryce Perkins, who I think was the number 3 quarterback before Lewerke was signed. We have the run game going strong with the two-headed monster. Wes Hills had a rush TD, and they go for 1 point, but they get sacked. So it's 13-0 there. And then DC with, every now and then, Jordan Tamo shows you that he's got something through a nice pass to Ty Scott, a 70-yard touchdown pass and catch. Ty Scott just flew past everybody. Beautiful play. 2-point conversion was missed. So it's 13-6 at that point. Muffed punt return by DC. And Michigan recovers. So, all right. So DC gets touchdown. Michigan does nothing with the ball. They have to punt. DC, the guy doesn't catch it. It hits. I don't know. They reviewed it from every angle possible, and it looks like it hit like his upper jersey, his elbow, and part of his knee pad hit the ground. Michigan recovers, and then Michigan muffs a snap. Luckily, it only resulted in a sack because the quarterback was able to recover the ball, so it's a loss of yards. So again, does anyone want to win? All right. Bates, the hero, Jake Bates, the namesake of the other LIPP man, 51-yard field goal. That's nothing for him. He kicked 61, 65 yards in his sleep. Yeah, it's 16-6. We have so DC at this point, they're getting a little desperate, but they do, they do nothing after that, by the way. But Michigan gets the ball back, but DC has a critical 4th down stop. So, they needed that stop. It's 16-6. They haven't done much right, but they're still very much in the game. Game is not out of hand. They throw an interception, 3 and out.
No, it's out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even sure it's an interception. Honestly, no, it's not an interception. That word is not INT, but BUT. But 3 and out. And the punt is to the 49-yard line. There was a bad call on Hills where they're saying that the player was down. So here's what happened. Hills gets the ball, breaks through the middle, loses his own balance, definitely is down. No player touches him on DC's side. He gets back up, and he keeps on running. But the defenders did not respond to that. No one went after him, not because they were being lazy, but because the refs blew the whistle. So it was very well explained to us by the official review that because DC responded to the whistle, they couldn't respond to the player. He would have been undefended. It would have been unnecessary roughness. So Wes Hills gets deprived of a nice run and a little bit of momentum. So DC sort of catches a little bit of a break there. And Michigan is held to a field goal, extending their lead to 19-6. But at this point, we're on FM. Is the S word okay for FM?
Yeah.
DC can't run shit. A couple of weeks ago, they had sort of a two-headed monster. Hagens looked like he was getting some rhythm. No, they couldn't run worth a damn. I think that their rush yards might have been in the negative. The quarterback might have had a few positive rush yards, but the only one who was rushing all was Ta'amu. And frankly, I've been on and off about Ta'amu, but this game was not his fault. Like, he didn't have a chance. Nobody was helping him. Anyway, this goes back to Michigan. They get another field goal. They're not getting touchdowns either, but they're on their 3rd and 4th quarterback. A lot of strange stuff is going on. They're not at home. It's now 22-6. This is sort of Michigan football. They're sort of unflappable. They're sort of disciplined. They just play professional football. They never give up. They really don't seem to have a personality except that they're just there to play football, and they're going to play their game. They're going to take the points. Occasionally they're going to take a chance, but usually they don't need to. And I don't know. I'm just really impressed by Michigan. Why aren't I wearing their shirt? Well, you're going to find out soon. DC challenges a play, but they lose their challenge. And, of course, they lose a timeout, which might be critical to them. Ta'amo at this point gets injured. So DeAndre Francis comes on down. And then we have someone named Jake McClendon as the quarterback 3. So DeAndre Francis was the quarterback 2, but he's already down. So they're on their third quarterback, and there was some significance to this because apparently there's a rule in the UFL that you can always have a third quarterback even if you didn't have 3 quarterbacks active, and this was invoked. So it's only interesting because it was invoked in this particular game. So the quarterback 3 is in. Didn't matter. The game ends with Jake McClendon did lead DC to a field goal. So it's 22-9, but this game wasn't even that close. DC loses at home. I picked DC. I'm maudlin about that. I will not doubt Michigan again. You've heard it here. Doesn't mean I think they're going to win every game, but Coach Nolan and his staff and the players, they're doing a fantastic job at Michigan. Birmingham, I normally say is the most professional team, but they had some problems themselves this week. Anyway, 22-9. So Michigan advances to 5-2. Michigan and Birmingham are the only 2 teams that have clinched playoff spots, and they're both in the same division as well. DC falls to 3-4. They are not eliminated yet. There's still 3 more games. They could still go 6-4. They could still catch both the Battlehawks and the Brahmas. And our next game is, in fact, San Antonio at Houston. San Antonio Brahmas, Houston. All right. So I picked San Antonio to win this game in the laugher. That is not what we got. The laugh was on me, ladies and gentlemen. The laugh was also on Houston, which sported a crowd of 6,134 people. There were not that many people there either, I assure you. Houston, my goodness, you're the 4th largest city in the United States. You wanted a team. You were upset when the Gamblers were gone, and then you wanted the Showboats, and then you got the Roughnecks, and you made such a fuss that they switched the names of the teams and this, that, and the other thing. And then you said, well, you'll see when we start playing games at Rice Stadium, people will show up for us. Where are you? Where are you? I understand your team is bad. Listen, I predicted that this team was going to start fighting itself. They didn't. The defense did not turn on the offense. They could have, but they didn't. Houston actually, they played at least their defense was pretty solid, but they did not give up. So anyway, this game starts off with San Antonio giving up a fumble. I mean, first of all, they're moving the ball pretty well. Quinton Dormady does not start, by the way. But it doesn't matter. They're moving the ball up and down the field. Well, yeah, but there's an early fumble recovery in the goal line by, I think it was Speedy Peterson. I should have written down his last name because he was all over the game, both in good and bad ways. But couldn't convert. Houston did get the ball back, but they couldn't do anything with it, so they had to punt. Good field position for San Antonio. Another perfectly good drive. They're going there. Second fumble, second possession in the red zone, recovered by Houston again. Does anyone want to win this game? So Houston's got the ball. Great opportunity for them. Did they convert? No, they didn't convert. Nothing. Reuben Foster, who is, when he's on the field, he is a beast. He's a monster, but he seems to be hurt every single game, and this game was no exception. He was on and off the field. He was hurt. They're showing him on the sideline. So San Antonio, finally on another possession, they kick a field goal. It's not sexy. Shea is here for the sexiness. But, San Antonio, which is a sort of a sexy team. They're sort of fun. They're sort of unconventional. And they were unconventional here also. I mean, they are sort of a little bit magical in a scary and like I wouldn't be thrilled sort of way. But field goal, it's 3-0.
That's kind of sexy. A little mysterious, a little scary.
Well, Shay, I've heard that you like the bad boy. So, me, I've always been a good boy.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. Well, then you're a little unconventional too, or maybe, I don't know. I'm a man. I don't understand women.
We never will.
Exactly right. Why even try? All right. So San Antonio then has a coach's challenge, and like pretty much every other coach's challenge this weekend, it was lost. They challenged on a non-call for offensive holding. I have to be honest, I thought it was offensive holding. I'm not really sure about these coaches' challenges on non-calls for penalties because there's holding on every play, and the review booth took a lot of time to, you could hear his thought process saying, he's like, yeah, I see him, but I don't really think that, it doesn't look like he's really turning him. It doesn't look like it's having an effect on his trajectory. He did the whole thing, but his arm was totally roped around the guy when the rusher's body was beyond the body of the lineman, but they did not overturn it. That could have gone either way. Anyway, loss of a timeout. No more coaches' challenges for San Antonio. At this point, we have Guarantano coming in, and he's injured. His wrist is hurting. He gets sacked. You could see it on his face. Houston does recover the fumble at this point. We get a timeout called with 3 seconds left in the half, and there is a 48-yard field goal by Houston. So we have an injured quarterback on one side. We have a third-string quarterback on the other side with 2 fumbles and other mistakes. And at halftime, we have a score of 3-3 in Houston. That's what you get when only 6,000 people buy tickets to your game. You deserve 3-3.
I mean, it was just a good defensive game. So.
Sure, or you could say it was a good defensive game. I mean, both of these teams did play pretty good defense, but San Antonio definitely beat themselves in the first half. I mean, they should have had 2 scores, probably touchdowns, but at least 2 field goals in the first 2 possessions. And, I mean, and the rest of the game doesn't play the same after that. So, you never know. But we don't get to play the games in alternate timelines. This isn't Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Thank God that movie was horrid. That movie is what made me turn heel on the MCU, by the way.
What? Oh, he got to come back.
Yeah, no.
We'll get Deadpool. We'll get Deadpool. Come back.
Listen. The thing about heel turns is you can always turn face again. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Deadpool as well. And it hasn't all been bad. But listen, if you want to hear my thoughts on Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, but by people who can speak much better and are more entertaining than me, go to The Critical Drinker on YouTube and to Pitch Meeting on YouTube and just type in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. And everything they say I agree with, and I think I had one more nitpick, but it doesn't matter. They hit all of the high points, and they're both hysterical. I love Pitch Meeting, and I love The Critical Drinker.
I've only watched the first one.
Oh my God, Pitch Meeting is so good. I mean, and now I use catchphrases. I go, fumbling the ball in the red zone is tight, and it's like, do you think you can stop them? Do you think you can stop Houston from advancing? Sounds like it's going to be difficult. Actually, it's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience. So. But unless you watch Pitch Meeting, you don't know what those references are to. So, but those references are tight. Yeah. All right. So, anyway, the second half begins with San Antonio getting sacked and losing the ball. Houston recovers again. So again, second half starts as the first half. What's that song where it goes, second verse, same as first?
I don't know.
All right.
I just totally lost my mind here in the background. Sorry.
The song I was thinking about from Michigan? What's that song from the 80s? It's got, ain't nobody gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh, no. I got to keep on moving. That's my song for the Michigan Panthers. I know it's not that popular.
I will play that for you when I'm spinning records on the Friday flashback on thethinlinerockstation.com.
Oh, you have that kind of autonomy now.
Only if you play me more Taylor Swift.
Oy.
Won't happen on Friday.
How about we compromise with Taylor Dane?
Yeah,
I will be.
They set me up with Taylor Swift. I can't.
All right. So anyway, Houston recovers again. There's a guy named Tavante Beckett, who was the defensive MVP for San Antonio. He was all over the field. I think he's a linebacker. He's a bit of an undersized linebacker, but he's all over. He could be a safety. He's rushing. He's doing everything. He's blitzing. By the way, fun note, for Houston, probably the only fun note, their place kicker's name is Molson. He is actually an 8th-generation descendant of the Molson Brewers, the oldest brewery in North America, at least according to commentary for the UFL, who I assume did a check. If not, it's according to Molson. Maybe it's a Great Gatsby thing going on. I don't know. I didn't check it myself, but fun little thing there. Molson beer, is good Canadian lager, and then other fine flavors as well. We don't support drinking here unless you're of age and drink responsibly and not driving, and you sponsor the show. And those things are not all. Are they all N's, or is the last one an or? I don't know. I'm not in charge.
I will take a sponsorship from Molson any day of the week. So
there you go.
I will even drink.
Only if we receive samples.
Well, there you go. So Houston, Molson kicks the second field goal of the game. It's 6-3. Then Molson later on, Santon doesn't do anything with the ball, kicks a 62-yard field goal. It's 9-3. Then we get a big rush from Houston, which is not a normal thing to happen for Houston. Quarandano, at this, he was trying to play through his injury, but at this point, I guess they decided he couldn't. We still don't have word on his injury. I think I mentioned earlier that McCarron was injured in the St. Louis Birmingham game, but at the top of the show I told you he's day to day. That's obviously after the game he's day to day, so that's good news for St. Louis fans and for the St. Louis team. Maybe bad news for their opponents. But Reed Sinet's back in the game for the injured Guarantano. And Kevin Hogan's comes in at quarterback for San Antonio. Maybe Dormandy did start, and it was stinking.
Yeah, Dormandy started. Yeah,
Dormandy did start, but he didn't finish. I keep messing myself up here with my little ramblings here.
He was only 10 for 24 though. So
and when Kevin Hogan's comes in, all of a sudden this team seems to rally around him. I don't know, just like they felt like they had more confidence. They played more solidly. All of a sudden, Lovett, who was the leading rusher coming into this game, obviously wasn't after Martinez, but he did nothing for the first 3 quarters. He's rushing. He gets a rush TD after a 10-minute drive. Now, normally a 10-minute drive is terrific, but when you were down 9-3 in the fourth quarter, maybe a 10-minute drive isn't the greatest thing that you want, but it turned out to be okay here. And by the way, I missed a field goal by Houston, so it was actually 12-3 at this point. So 10-minute drive with 6 points, you're still down by a field goal. But remember, the UFL has 3 extra point options:
Yes.
1 point, 2 points, and 3 points. Now,
I don't think they had. I don't think they had as much support on their quarterback as you think. I mean, he went 5 for 7. He didn't get many attempts, so they definitely it was rushing.
Yeah,
they didn't want to put the ball in his hands. I don't think.
It's okay. Listen, 5 for 7 is pretty efficient, and Lovett was able to get forward pushes and forward yards when they weren't before. So, gotta credit something. I mean, whatever it was, they decided to wake up and play. But so we know that my biggest gripe about the UFL is the missed extra points. I mean, I think that they should just do a 1-point kick. I know it's boring, but there's, it's almost a given that you're going to miss. The 3-point conversions are, I think the percentages are like less than 10% league-wide. So San Antonio, who couldn't do anything with the ball all game until now in the fourth quarter, tries a 3-point conversion, as they should. Mathematically, it's the only thing that makes sense. There's not a lot of time on the clock, and they're down by 3. So absolutely you do it. 1 point, 2 points doesn't get you anything. They make it. Threw a pass to Corey Latimer, and, the former Denver Bronco catches the ball, comes in with 3 points. It's 12-12. So, hey, we're deep in the fourth quarter. San Antonio, they've had a couple tricky, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat before. Will they do it again? I sure hope so, because I picked San Antonio. I don't want to go 2-2. I don't want to be mid. I want to be braggadocious. So Houston gets the ball. They turn it over on the kickoff. And, we get Santosa for a field goal. They run the clock down to 1 second. He kicks the field goal. 15-12. San Antonio sneaks out a win at Houston. Yeah. Houston, the defense played their hearts out. I mean, they didn't turn on the offense yet. They didn't turn on the coach yet. But they might. I'm just not sure who does it first, them or Memphis. But Memphis can point to everyone. It's not like such a tale of two cities. It's not so Dickensian as it is here in Houston. But 15-2, and San Antonio advances to 5-2. St. Louis falls to 5-2. So you've got a two-way tie in that division, and DC still hanging around. So exciting, not pretty, but exciting football. Those are your 4 games on the week. Guys, you have anything that you want to add to this funness?
Well, I'm still griping about Memphis and DC, so just let me be.
I think it'd be more fun if more people were interested in winning.
Yeah, or even playing competently. That would be too. And if coaches would stop with these crazy challenges, which are really, sometimes they're just really weird. All right. So what are our games for week 8? Let's do our predictions. I know Jake said he's going to email his in or put them in the chat. This is the time where we normally do that. By the way, I know I keep promising things and then they don't happen. I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to have a guest next week who's going to talk to us about how TV networks and advertisers and broadcast media buyers evaluate ratings and demos, and as it is for the UFL. Now, this person said they were going to be on before, and they didn't, but they couldn't tonight. They said, "Can I come in next week?" I said, "Sure." So this is not a promise; it's a prediction, not a spoiler. But we're always working on guests. We're always working on, building our relationships. Obviously, we've done some stuff with the Touchdown Crew, and they've done some stuff with us. And so if anyone wants to be a guest or whatever, but we're reaching out. But that's what I hope to get to you. And the business of sports and the business of television is a little interest of mine, and hopefully it's of interest to you, though it does seem season 2 is pretty secure in the bag. But you never know. TV's a fickle thing. I mean, shows get canceled all the time, and sometimes people go, "Huh? How'd that get canceled?" So anyway, that gives that vamped enough time for Glenn to pull up the games for week 8. What we got?
Memphis at Michigan.
Well, I mean, Michigan, I don't doubt you. Memphis, I don't doubt you either. As losers, Michigan Panthers with the win, probably easy, but probably not as easy as it should be.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a walk-off. It's gonna be a runaway, one way or the other. Michigan's going to run away. I think
like some strange score, like 32-16.
Probably, it's going to be something like that. Yeah, I don't see that, but I'll tell you what. I'll just say Memphis is going to wake up and they're going to do something. How about that? I'll just liven it up a little bit. They've got to, for God's sakes. They've got to do something. Fred Smith, buy the team.
Shay, what do you say? So they're going to deliver. Shay, who do you pick?
I'll go with Memphis.
All right. Well, 2 homers there, or sort of homers. She just wants
you
the
might
barbecue.
Write this down, Shay, in case I'm actually right. So.
Well,
okay.
It's going to be in Michigan, so they're not going to do the barbecue thing in Michigan. Maybe they'll give away 4.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I hope they have some good food.
Michigan, I'm sure there's good food in the entire state of Michigan. I have been to Michigan, I think at least twice. So, all right.
I flew through there. So,
yeah.
I was going to say I've been to an airport in Michigan. So.
Next we have the Houston
in University of Michigan, and they had some pretty good food there. But I was a college kid, so of course, like chili cheese and fries is gourmet.
They had a good Cinnabon, so I can say that.
And I've been to Detroit once, so Detroit had good restaurants, your steakhouses and whatnot. All right, so what's the other one? It's Houston. What?
Houston, the Roughnecks playing the Stallions in Birmingham.
Well, I'm going to go with Birmingham on that one. Shocker.
Yeah. I'm going with Birmingham, and that one is going to look like an NBA score, I think. So
yeah, I think that
on one side. One side.
Yeah, I think that could very well be. Birmingham will score more than 40 points, and Houston might score 9.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. And then next we have your favorite DC at St. Louis. And
Law
America's
is the
own.
law. I hate you, DC. I don't like how your red lights are synchronized so that you can never get more than 30 feet without stopping. I don't like all the one-way roads. I don't like how you're aligned like the pyramids to Orion's belt and Sagittarius the hunter. I don't trust Masonic things. There's too many underground tunnels there.
Oh, come on.
There's a lot of reptilians there, I'm told. I don't know.
Hey, you're talking to the wrong people about this.
If the reptilians would show up and play.
I'm sorry, amateurs. I have a show called Garden of Doom. I mean, the paranormal guys can hold my beer, my Molson, in fact.
Hey, if I have to agree, if they'll show up and play a good game, then
yeah, and if not,
we'll allow it.
they'll bite the heads off, even with those safety helmets.
Yeah.
All right, so I believe it's clear, but just to be sure, my pick is the St. Louis Battlehawks. Being like crows after an actual battle and pecking the eyeballs off of the fallen warriors, just like the Mordihin would do, or a Valkyrie, or my favorite semi-Mordihin, semi-Aphrodite / Athena, Freya.
Yep.
Well, my only concern is St. Louis. Are they going to sit any starters? We're less than a month away from the playoffs. We're like 3 weeks away.
They are 5-2 with another team 5-2 in their division.
But they're playing DC.
But DC needs a win to stay in it. DC is not mathematically out of it.
Yeah, DC technically, if they won out, they'd be in. Yeah, so
but if DC wins this game, they're 4-4, and all of a sudden St. Louis is 5-3.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think they sit any players. I mean, I know McCarron is day to day, but I think that probably his leg would have to fall off for him not to play.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I sense they're going to fall asleep on this one.
All right, we'll pick DC if you're brave enough.
I'm picking DC.
All right.
I'm going to try one. See, I've been picking along with you guys, but
Shay, are you going to join him in the Glen Asylum, or are you going to go your own way?
I think DC's screwed.
All right. What's our last game of the week?
That leaves us with the Arlington Renegades at San Antonio, and that is going to be a 4:00 game on Fox.
All right. I think this is going to be the game of the week. This one is unpredictable. Arlington has found their winning ways again, but they're at San Antonio. San Antonio, they as unpredictable as they are, when they scoop these, this is the second time they've scooped a victory out of the jaws of defeat, and the next week they responded with a pretty solid game. So I think they're going to respond with a pretty solid game. I don't know who the quarterback is. I don't think that it matters. I think that Arlington at 1-6, they got their win. The chip is off their shoulder, but I think it's too late for them, and they may have to try some other things. Anyway, long way of saying I feel like it's going to be a close game, but I think San Antonio is going to pull it out at home. Arlington doesn't have much of a defense. Last week was an aberration. They played a stinky team. So I'm going to go San Antonio 33, Arlington 24. It's going to be just close enough to have hope, but hope will not survive that day. Not for Arlington anyway. But it will for San Antonio, which I learned that, listen, apparently I don't know my Texas geography. I thought San Antonio was in West Texas, and I figured that Houston's in East Texas and Arlington's in Central Texas. But apparently San Antonio is only like 3 hours away from Houston. That seems like stupid team placement to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's stupid that 55, I don't know my Texas geography, it being like a really big state and pretty important. But I did. I mean, I do remember the Alamo, and I know that Sam Houston was able to get troops there and all that other good stuff a little bit late. But it was sort of like the Persian, not the Persians, the Spartans, with the phalanx holding off the Persians long enough for the rest of Greece to rally. But still, I don't know. I just thought it was in East Texas for whatever reason. I guess I'm getting confused with El Paso or Amarillo or something.
You're going to distance all of our Texas fans, aren't you?
Listen, I'm owning up to it. That I don't know. I just don't. It's like 3 markets that are so close to each other, and with a new sport, it seems like an odd choice to me.
I agree there. So I think this game will be over by the 3rd quarter for Brahmas winning. I think that there's not the 4th quarter. You just go ahead and tune out or drink an extra beer and forget about it.
Adam?
I'll have to go with San Antonio.
Okay, 3 for San Antonio. Oh, so in the chat, maybe that's Jake. Those picks? Nope.
Oh, no, that is one of our sponsors. So that is the Thin Line Rock Station, where you can hear me tomorrow from noon to, I lost my mind, 2. From noon to 2. You will hear me spinning records.
You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby. All right.
And we play rock tomorrow. I'll get your culture club in over the weekend.
It'll be disco.
That's Dead or Alive. It's not Culture Club.
Oh, sorry, Dead or Alive.
That's right. I'm pretty sure it was 1985. Anyway. All right. Well, Jake's picks are not in yet, but hopefully he will email them in to you so that you can keep them honest. He says he's 2-2 for this past week. I'm 3-1. I am still ahead in this little thing. I think I expanded my league from 2 games over to 3 games over. The young man, but he was at a pretty successful clip. So my clip is just pretty awesome. Gotta say.
How much does he owe you after all this is over?
Not a thing. We unlike the UFL, we're not pushing gambling on everyone. By the way, that's something like the UFL pushes gambling mercilessly, which is fine. A lot of people like to gamble, but they don't push the fantasy football, which is really something that everyone can partake in. Kids, teenagers. If you don't have a lot of money to gamble, I mean, plenty of people shouldn't gamble anyway. But if you've got $25 or $50, you can buy yourself 10 to 12 weeks of entertainment, by being invested in every game. And I think it's really a mistake on the UFL's part not to do more with fantasy football and do, maybe take it a little bit easy on the gambling stuff, just the plain old gambling and the over-unders and this. I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of not a big fan of like encouraging gambling more than it already is. Mm-hmm. But it just seems that fantasy football is a whole lot more egalitarian. Everybody can participate in it, and it is wholesome fun. Yes, it's gambling of sort, but it's more like Dungeons and Dragons gambling than Las Vegas gambling. I mean,
well, it's the fans more involved, I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I don't. Yeah, I don't understand. They need right now the fan involvement to get to season 2, and then once they get to season 2, they need even more fan involvement to get to season 3. So.
You need to get to know the players too. And I mean, honestly, there aren't a lot of stars in the league. So you need to, be supportive of the people on your team or hate them. And, like in wrestling, love them or hate them. Just don't care. Apathy is the enemy of sports. So that is my advice to the UFL. A little bit less on the gambling, a little bit more on the fantasy football. It's probably too late, but there, you can do playoff leagues, probably pretty easy in a 3-week, or 2-week playoff system, whatever. I think it's 2 weeks of playoffs, a 1-week championship. Or is it 1 week of playoffs and then the championship game? I think it's just 2 weeks, all in all. I should know this, but I don't need to know it yet.
It's conference championships are June 8th and 9th, and the championship is June 16th. So there you go. It's just the one.
All right, so you could do a shortened league. I mean, we used to do playoff fantasy football league for regular NFL football. Obviously, it's longer, but it kept getting smaller and smaller as teams would get knocked out. I mean, if you had the St. Louis Rams, and they lost during the greatest show on turf, a lot of people were already dead in their playoff fantasy football league if that happened. Anyway. Just a little idea out there, or at least next year, push the fantasy football league while maybe covering the UFL draft. Maybe you do like a mock fantasy league or at the same time that the UFL draft. Get us to know the players. Some of these like players like Hakeem Butler, I'm not sure he did himself so many favors yesterday with the Stonehands. But he's probably not going to be in the UFL. He's probably going to be on an NFL team. Maybe he'll be the 5th receiver, but he's probably going to be on an NFL team next year. Some other people, who knows? So, but Aitman, he might step back up into it. I'm just saying, get to know the players. I didn't know any players week one. Now I know a fair amount, and that's how you build a league. That's how you build fans. That's how you get people to want to see the games, watch games on TV. Certainly on TV. I know TV's king, but also you got to do something to drive people to the stadium. And literally, I mean, league, drive people to the stadium. Hire buses. Go to high school football teams, give them all a ticket, provide buses. Fred Smith, you own Greyhound, is that it? Send a Greyhound to all the college football teams and the high school football teams in a 20-mile radius and bus them all on in.
It just seems like it would be like a smarter financial decision to get people more interested as posing fantasy football than, hey, gambling.
Yeah. So, it's a $50 investment for most leagues. Yeah, I know that there's high rollers out there that do leagues, but I don't think anybody, loses their mortgage on fantasy football. There are people who lose their mortgage in casinos.
Yes.
So anyway, more fantasy football, less regular gambling. You're going to get more of the youth interest. You're going to get people watching all of the games. I don't know. It's a good idea. They agree with me. Everyone agrees with me.
Absolutely.
It's got to be a good idea if all three of us.
Make your own D&D UFL.
Exactly
make
right.
it like that.
That's right. The LIPP Men, we offer our services for free for now, but we could use a little bit, a little sponsorship, a little push. I mean, there's not a whole lot of UFL podcasts and streaming shows out there. So, UFL, if you want to adopt us as the unofficial official, exactly, hook us up.
That's right.
So listen,
Fred
I have nothing
Smith,
else to
call
say.
me.
Yeah. This is our shortest show. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. Jake couldn't make it. I know he's sorry. Charles, we're happy you're doing better. Fuel, I hope you enjoyed your first indoctrination, your first meeting, your first acquaintanceship with us, and try to do better next week.
It's gonna be fun. Well, you know what? They're gonna have the paranormal guys on Wednesday night, which is at 9 p.m. And we're gonna have Ashley Hilt, and then she's gonna discuss all things Mothman. She is the self-proclaimed Mothman expert. So,
is that Asher Z?
Yes.
Yes, she's been on Guard and Doom. She's good.
She will be on it now. Yes, I've talked to her. And then who are we having after that? We're having a gentleman that talks about Poltergeist and Hackman. And so I'm excited about that.
I'm looking forward to hearing about Hackman.
Yeah, not a lot of people understand Hackman. I don't know that Hackman.
Tom Franklin.
Tom Franklin, that's right.
Not Rumpelstiltskin.
No. So
that's next week.
Different hat now.
Yeah. And then on the Grin and Guardian show, we have a guest speaker from Chesapeake, Virginia Fire Department going to speak. So that should be good. That's Friday night at 9 p.m. And then on the Misfits, the theme of this Misfits, Tom Brady, we love you, banned in the USA. So it's an inside story. Tom, if you get it, call me. We'll talk about this.
We love
you. No. I was in 2 days of YouTube hell. Thank you, Tom. So no.
No, we love him. We love him until Friday or until Saturday.
Whatever. You can catch me Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon till 2 or 1400 on the Thin Line Rock Station, where I will be playing some rock and roll music. Fridays, 6 p.m. till 11. I'm Flashback Fridays, where we're going to be doing a little music history and some good flashback music, 60s, 70s, 80s. Every now and then they'll throw one in there that really confuses me, and I have to go, who the heck is this, and look it up. But it's always
i.e. Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, I will admit, until I started doing the DJ work, I couldn't name one of her songs. So I can name one now. So thank you, Rock Station. Blank Slate. That was the one I came up.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I have nothing against her. In fact, I follow the NFL romance of those two. So,
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That's about enough out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a football show.
Yeah. Well, you know what? if the UFL had a royalty couple like that, they might get more ratings.
All right, well.
Never saying. But he was seated to Kentucky Derby without her.
Well, he was supposed to propose after the Super Bowl, and he didn't.
Oh, come on. He was too excited. He's got to say, what am I doing next? I'm going to Disney World. Isn't that what they say?
He's not even the one that was at WrestleMania.
No, I saw that. Mahomes should have come out of the stands. Don't get me going there. All right. Well, we appreciate yergsradio.com for allowing us to be on there. And you can catch all of our shows at Sportcat Shows. Please thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And the Lip Men are out for the week.